perfection, devotion, discipline. They made her the most famous angel in the world and the one who paid the highest price. The lights dimmed and a hush fell over the crowd. It was 2018, the final Victoria's Secret show of its golden age. On that stage, Adriana Lima pressed her hand to her heart, eyes filling with tears. The audience rose to their feet, clapping for the woman who had carried their fantasy for almost 20 years. They saw a goddess saying goodbye. She felt a woman finally setting herself free. What happens to an angel when the wings come off? Does the woman behind the legend get to be human again? Or has the world already decided who she's allowed to be? To understand that moment, you have to go back to the humid streets of Salvador, Bahia, where a quiet teenage girl once followed a friend to a modeling contest she never planned to enter. Some versions say she joined only to keep her friend company. Others say a scout noticed her first. Either way, fate had a sense of humor. At 15, Adriana won Ford's Supermodel of Brazil contest. A year later, she placed second in the world.
I did a modeling contest and I did not win.
In Brazil? Oh my God, who won?
The final was here in the US. I don't know. I haven't seen her.
Exactly. It must be like, where is she now, huh?
So here I am, and then I was in second place, and an agency in New York invited me to do some castings there, and I started working right away. Never stopped. I was lucky. Oh my God.
Yeah.
She had never seen New York, never dreamed of Milan, yet suddenly her face was a passport to every capital of fashion. Behind that wide, uncertain smile was a single thought: what if I don't belong here? The girl who once played barefoot in Bahia was thrust into a universe of flashbulbs, where beauty was both currency and cage. Every compliment came with a condition, every opportunity with a price. She signed with elite model management. Magazines called her the new exotic face. She hated that word. It made her heritage sound like an accident rather than an identity. But she stayed quiet, because in this industry, silence was often safer than truth. Years later, when she first stepped onto the Victoria's Secret runway in 1999, the room changed temperature. The lights seemed to tilt toward her. The cameras caught something the audience could only feel. That impossible blend of mystery and warmth that would define an era.
When you're up there walking up and down, do you ever get embarrassed,
No, actually I disconnect from everybody that's watching me, and I try to feel my outfit and listen to the music.
But perfection doesn't come free. Every glow has its shadow. And for Adriana Lima, the shadow was waiting just off stage. How long can a woman stay flawless before the world turns her into its mirror? And what happens when that mirror starts to crack? By the time the world noticed her, she already knew the cost of being noticed. New York was cold, impatient, merciless to accents. She arrived with one suitcase, a few English words, and a quiet determination that would soon become legend. While other models chased parties, Adriana chased routine, morning workouts, castings, and the long silence of discipline. Her first real steps weren't in wings, but on the world's hardest runways. In the late 90s, she walked for Versace, Fendi, Alexander McQueen, Ralph Lauren, Christian Dior, shows that demanded not just beauty, but command. Each catwalk taught her rhythm, control, and the art of disappearing into a designer's vision. Before the glow of the angels, there was the grind of the fittings. Before the cameras, the long hours under fluorescent lights. By 1999, the transformation was complete. The shy teenager from Salvador had become the newest Victoria's Secret angel. She didn't just walk, she studied every step, every flicker of light. Discipline became devotion.
Nervous because we want everything to be perfect, and we want to give 100% of ourselves to be everything beautiful, and to satisfy the other people, then we have to sell the clothes.
In the gym, she was a boxer. In front of the camera, a strategist. Beauty, she learned, was a skill, one that could be sharpened, timed, performed.
It takes a lot of discipline to keep up your workout routine, and there are days, yes, that I don't feel like it, going to the gym because of many reasons. It could be I'm tired, I'm jet lagged, but I go out there and have it done.
But what happens when a performance becomes a prison? In an industry built on freedom and desire, Adriana did something unusual. She spoke openly about faith, Catholic, devoted, unashamed. She once told an interviewer she had planned to become a nun before modeling took over her life. When she said she would remain celibate until marriage, the headlines weren't kind. To some, it was hypocrisy, an angel of temptation preaching restraint. To her, it was simply truth. Faith was her anchor, but it also made her a target. The press dissected her interviews, twisting belief into contradiction. Feminists accused her of reinforcing male fantasy. Traditionalists accused her of betraying modesty. She belonged everywhere and nowhere, too pure for the industry, too seductive for the church. And still, she walked. Year after year, show after show, the wings grew heavier. Every appearance demanded a perfect body, a perfect smile, a perfect life. Perfection became expectation. Expectation became pressure. Was she still a person? Or had she become a product? The camera adored her, but the world behind it could be cruel. Critics whispered that her beauty was too easy, her success too smooth, as if discipline and faith had nothing to do with it. They saw the surface and called it destiny. She knew it was endurance. Victoria's Secret may have made her famous, but it was the rest of fashion that made her immortal. Through the 2000s, Adriana became a true chameleon of the catwalk, swinging from the structure of Prada to the sensual chaos of Balmain, from the dark romanticism of Givenchy to the opulent drama of Dolce & Gabbana. Designers trusted her to anchor a show. Photographers called her one-take magic. She was the bridge between eras, part supermodel, part athlete, part symbol. Then came Maybelline. In 2003, she became the new face of the brand, turning a global makeup campaign into a cultural signature. That whisper, maybe she's born with it, became her calling card. She wasn't just selling mascara, she was selling belief. By the mid-2000s, her image was inescapable. Billboards, fragrance ads, editorials, the glow of 1,000 flashbulbs. Her face could sell lipstick, lingerie, or an idea. In the language of fashion, she was fluent in all dialects.
I was all in red. Actually, you can see that today at the Madame Tussauds Museum. I never thought that I would have a wax figure, that I would be honored that way by being a Victoria's Secret angel.
In 2011, a backstage interview before a Victoria's Secret show changed everything. Adriana mentioned her pre-show diet, how in the final days before walking, she followed an all-liquid regimen, training twice a day to reach the physical peak the brand demanded. It was meant to show discipline. Instead, it became scandal. Headlines screamed about dangerous beauty standards. The same world that had rewarded her perfection now accused her of feeding the illusion. It was a cruel irony. The audience wanted angels but condemned the flight it took to look like one. She took the criticism quietly. No denials, no fights. Just more work. But inside, the exhaustion was building. Years of preparation, constant travel, and the pressure to remain ageless had started to take their toll.
As a woman, I never thought that I was physically and mentally that powerful.
But visibility comes with a price. The more the world saw her, the less it seemed to see her at all. Adriana was no longer a person in photographs. She was the photograph. Expectations grew sharper, margins thinner. Every year meant another body check, another test to stay perfect. And in 2012, she left the runway and entered American history. That year, she appeared in 2 Super Bowl commercials for Kia Motors and Teleflora. Both aired during the same game, reaching more than 100 million viewers. For 12 minutes of television, the world didn't just see a model. It saw a phenomenon. It was the summit of visibility and the beginning of its wait. By the late 2010s, the whispers grew louder. New faces, new bodies, new ideals. The culture was shifting. The world wanted diversity, authenticity, imperfection. And Adriana, disciplined, luminous, unapologetically herself, suddenly felt like a symbol of a time that fashion was trying to forget. Then came 2018. Her final walk, the tears, the ovation, and the unspoken truth that this wasn't just her goodbye. It was the end of an era built on flawless illusion. But every ending hides a beginning. And for Adriana Lima, the story wasn't over. When the world changes, it rarely asks permission. By the early 2020s, Victoria's Secret itself had become a relic, a brand trying to shed the fantasy it once sold. Adriana had already moved on, building a quieter life, children, film, and charity projects, a distance from the glare that had once defined her. Her true comeback would come in 2024. A rebrand, a reinvention. They wanted not the flawless girl of 1999, but the woman who had lived through it all. The same face, now carrying lines of experience, the same eyes, but deeper. She walked once more, not to prove she could, but to show that beauty and time could coexist. The cameras saw her differently this time. They didn't chase her body, they followed her presence. The applause wasn't for perfection, it was just for her. For nearly 3 decades, she had been every contradiction the industry could invent. The devout woman in lingerie, the disciplined athlete selling fantasy, the outsider who became the standard.
That no matter what you go through, you keep going and insist and you go and you learn, you fail, you learn, and you continue until you get it done.